Caroline, who do you think is better at sales across the board? Is it men or is it women?
Women.
Women?
Yes.
You think women across the board are better at sales than men?
Yes, I do think that.
Why is that?
Just because we do it better.
Just because you do it better.
We do it better.
You do it better.
Yeah. Women sell with emotion.
I could see that. You know what's interesting? I really think that it genuinely depends, because what fascinates me is the fact that as a man, there's certain things that on a sales call, you literally can't say or they'll be perceived as disrespectful. Whereas if a woman says the same exact thing, I'm gonna park right here, you can actually get away with it, right? Like if a man asks another man, oh, what are your goals as a man? Why are you on this call? You might get looked at like, that's disrespectful. Don't fucking talk to me like that. But if a girl asks that same question, you could get away with it and no one's really gonna hold it against you or be super mad. But I really think that it depends, because as a man, when you're selling to another man, you need to sell with a lot of reason, with a lot of logic, right? A lot of math. Like these are the numbers. Does the math? Can we make a deal man to man? Can we strike up a deal together, right? Whereas as a girl selling a man, I feel as though, like you said, you can sell with emotion and really dig maybe even deeper into a pain point, because now maybe he's not thinking as much about your personal gain. Maybe he's actually just seeing you as a young, pretty girl, and he's interested in the conversation, and maybe that's your way of progressing the sales process forward. It depends, right? Now, this is what I will say. I think girls could get away with harder objection handling when it gets weird in a conversation. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Do you agree? Or
I
you
do
disagree?
agree with that.
Like, for example, when it's like price-based conversation towards the end of a call, and you ask a question like, yeah, so listen, if everything makes sense and if you obviously think that the price is reasonable, is this something you'd want to give a shot? Is this something you'd want to go forward on? And they say, yeah. And if you say, got it. So when would you be looking to go forward on something like this? Oh, as soon as possible, right? A man presents the price, a woman presents the price, and you say, hey, do you want to go forward? I feel as though when the price objections pop up, it's a lot easier to dig into the emotional pain point as a girl, to be like, listen, I totally understand it's a big investment, but I'm telling you, like, this is what's going on.
I think that I've seen multiple sales reps as men be very successful when they sell with emotion.
So you're saying...
When they do. Because sometimes most of them are very like, you know, what's in it for me? Let me just take their money. But the second you tackle on the other person's emotion, I mean, you do a perfect job at doing that when you're selling. So what you're saying men could do and take from women as salespeople is sell utilizing more emotion and more tonality, because women naturally are more nurturing. We're nurturing. We ask, how are you? You know, I think we're just... I can't talk. No, I know what you mean. So you're just saying bring more of those traits and more of those characteristics into the call. And maybe what a woman could take from a man that's good at sales is the ability and the capacity to, I think, be more reasonable in their pitch. For example, like sometimes a girl will just forget about, hey, the math needs to make sense. Like this is the budget. This is what the projected return for whatever this might look like could be. And the numbers need to make sense. For women, I noticed the most when I was selling was that I felt bad if I was presenting a price. Like I was literally genuinely feeling bad. But that's when using too much emotion can work against you. Personally, that was my experience. I think that you kind of have to have a balance of both. Happy medium. You have to be in the middle. But sometimes too much emotion, you know, it will work against you. Right. So for example, like how a guy might sell a deal, right, is if everything makes sense, would you want to go forward? Yeah. You showcase the price. Hey, John, do you want to give us a shot for a month? Oh, listen, Luke, you know, the price is really just a big deal for me right now. I'm not sure if I can really, you know, afford this time of year. It's a bigger investment than I thought it would be, right? Some guys might go towards like, well, how bad do you want to change? If nothing changes, then what's going to change inside of your business, right? That kind of thing. And another angle that people could take is first get them to drop their guard, to say, John, I totally understand. I know it's a big investment. I totally get it. The last 3 people that just opted in said the same exact thing. But I'm here to tell you, if you have a vote of confidence and if you're genuinely confident and you're sure that what we're going to do is going to hit the result that you're looking for, this price is a drop in the bucket. If you knew you were going to invest $2,000 a month, but you were going to achieve XYZ result, would you do it today if you knew this result was guaranteed? If they say yes, then obviously the conversation changes to a matter of how confident are they in you that you're actually going to deliver that result, right? That's where a woman in general, maybe being perceived as more trustworthy, less salesy,
would be able to handle that objection and get through to closing a deal a little bit more easily than a guy would. So maybe that's something that a guy could take from a girl and take that perspective and take that approach to just say, let me be a little bit more emotional. Let me get them to drop their guard a little bit more. Before I go in for the objection handle, before I go in and I re-ask for the sale, what can I do to get the prospect to just drop their guard a little bit more so that they could be a little bit more reasonable.
I mean, I think off the jump, the second they see a sales guy, they're like, oh, what does he want? What does he want?
It's a sales guy. It's a sales guy. Not.
It's just you guys. It's definitely harder as a male to sell. That's
right.
What I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think that women get the same stigma as, oh, she's just a saleswoman. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think so. And I also don't think, all jokes aside, that flirting gets you anywhere in a fucking deal as a guy. Mm-mm. But as a girl, unfortunately, sometimes that can work to your favor or against you. But 100%. I would say it's generally harder for guys to close a deal than it is for a girl because of the natural lack of trust in a salesperson. So you have to work extra hard to get the person to like you man to man if you're selling to a man, right? But I do think that when a woman is selling to a woman, it's a lot easier to close. Because I think girls have at least a certain degree of a level of trust with each other. Maybe like, oh, we have this mutual respect that we're both in sales. Whereas guys will like shit test you. You'll get on a call, they'll be ready to sign up and they'll throw a price objection at you to see what you say. Like, how much can I trust this guy? Is he going to give me a bullshit money back guarantee? Is he going to discount me? That kind of thing. So what a girl can take from a guy is when you're going into a call, don't forget that this guy is going to want to buy from someone that's smart. No guy's going to want to buy a service or a product from some fucking numbnut or some empty head that's just a girl.
Or just someone who's just going right in for the kill.
Right.
Start a conversation. Ask how the person's day is going. Try to connect with them. You know, ask if they have a wife, they have kids. What do they like doing for fun?
Right.
That's all emotion.
But you know what's so interesting, right? You know what's so interesting? I feel as though as a girl, you can actually get away with a lot of those questions because it's a lot less cutthroat, the conversation. You're acknowledging that you might actually care about those things.
Yes.
As a guy, most of the time when you're asking those questions, somewhere in the back of that guy's mind, he's saying, cut the shit, get to the fucking point. And he won't verbalize it, but you're building sometimes a lack of trust by trying to be too overly kind or polite. When I say bring emotion into it, I mean, especially towards the end of the call, when there's price-based objections or objections that are similar to that, you can literally say, listen, I get this is a big deal. I get this is a big investment. But Brian, I work with guys like you all the time. I know it's a big investment.
I think that's
why we do what we do. That's why we deliver the results that we deliver. Give me a shot for a month, man to man. I won't let you down. And to me, that frame of selling,
that sounds genuine. You're right. Genuine.
Right. But that frame of selling can work very well. As a girl, you can naturally ask a lot of these questions, and a guy's not going to call bullshit. No, because he might believe Caroline really wants to know those things.
Yeah.
You know? To me, that's a lot of the difference. Do you have anything else you wanted to?
I just think personally, just really having their best interest at heart comes a long way.
Always.
Not always trying to go for, right for the kill. Unfortunately, sometimes you're going to have, clients or customers that it's not always a good fit.
Yeah.
So why would you want to sell them on something that maybe isn't the best outcome for them? I think it just comes with really just wanting the best of their interest and actually genuinely trying to help them. And obviously, your product is amazing. You really are helping a lot of wedding venues.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, it just depends. I feel like.
Yeah, it's tricky, but what I will say is that the way that you sell as a man and the way that you sell as a woman is completely different. As a man, don't forget to bring emotion and reason into the actual pitch. If you're too much of a robot, another man's going to look at you as a friggin' robot. As a woman, when you're selling to a man, don't forget that no matter how kind or polite you are or how nurturing your sales process is and your pitch is, the goal is to close the deal. So towards the end of that conversation, don't be afraid to lean into some hard questions, because at the end of the day, a guy's not going to feel offended by a woman asking hard questions in the same way that he would be offended by another man similar in age asking those same questions. Certain guys will get...
What do you think's a hard question?
What are your goals as a man?
See, that's a good
right,
one.
Like if you're a guy asking another guy that question, unless it's a really warm inbound lead, that's a hard question to ask. As a girl, you can really ask...
How would you phrase it as a girl to ask that question? Obviously, it would be a little bit tough for me to say that.
Brian, I'm just curious because I know, you have a lot of goals. You told me a lot of the stuff that you're looking to do and a lot of the goals that you have for your business. outside of, you know, your business goals as a man, what are your personal goals? Right? Something like that. So that it's a little bit more personal.
Or like what's important to you.
And then they'll start talking about their family or whatever else is important to them. And then you can say, well, Brian, that's why I'm going to give you a little bit of a nudge and some encouragement to get started on something like this, because I have seen people get on calls like this, tell me about all their goals, and then by the end of the call, they decide not to move forward. You end up in a rut of not making a decision. The best thing you can do is start on something, stick with it, and not give up. That's why we built what we have. Take a vote of confidence in me. I know you're going to love what we have. Will you give it a shot? Right? And then ask for the sale that way. Just playing to your advantages, you know? And one thing I will say, if you're shy as a man or as a woman, I don't know what other sales trainers are going to give you random advice to just sell like a numbnut, or just, it's okay to be shy when you sell. I disagree. I don't think that you can be a a genuinely successful salesperson if you're shy. I really don't think so, because how are you actually going to open up to the prospect? How are you actually going to show where your vulnerabilities are? If you go watch some of my live sales calls, I'll attach some below this video, you will see that I use comedy in my sales process and in my pitch. I'm getting people to laugh with me on call. I'm digging into their pain points, but I'm not asking questions so that I look like a dick. I'm asking questions that expose a gap, but then I'm saying, listen, I get that you have this problem, but this is not unique to you. There's so many people that have this problem. We help people with this all the time. Just take a look at what we got, right? And mind you, all these bullshit sales trainers on the internet, separate topic, they don't put their fucking calls on the internet.
They never put the live call.
Right? They'll talk about, oh, here's how to handle this objection. Here's how to handle that objection. Where are your live sales calls of you closing a deal? Where are the videos of your sales team and your team members closing deals? Once you show me that, I'll believe what you got. Until that, it's bullshit. That being said, what's the conclusion? Who's better at sales, men or women?
I think it's up for debate.
It's up for debate?
Definitely.
Drop it in the comments.
Depends on the situation.
Drop it in the comments.
I think that women have an advantage. That's what I would say.
I think women have an advantage, but drop it in the comments. Who's better at sales, men or women? It's not up for debate who's better at cooking, because obviously I'll fucking burn everything I touch, but that's fine. Drop it in the comments if you think men are better at sales, women are better at sales. By the way, if you're a salesperson, DM me on Instagram at @LukeDelPriori_ for coaching. If you need a job, we may have hiring positions available. We'll stay in touch. Send me a DM at @LukeDelPriori_. Watch that video that I attached. A full sales call over an hour long of me selling live on Zoom. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.